Hey, Dr. Nichols, I was just coming down to say goodbye.
Anthony, came to help you with your bags.
No, that's okay. I can take them down myself. I got them.
What's this? What's going on?
Well, see, my friend Dignan didn't realize that this was a voluntary hospital, and he got this whole escape thing worked out, and he just got so excited about the thing. I didn't have the heart to tell him, no, that, I mean, look how excited he is. I gotta do it this way, Dr. Nichols. I gotta climb out. It's only one floor down.
Okay. But can you do it fast? You know, this doesn't look good. None of this looks good at all.
Well, thanks very much, Dr. Nichols. You've really been a great help. You've been a great doctor. No, thank you. Can you hand me my bag, please?
Welcome back, everybody, to the Film Bros Podcast. My name is Isaiah Lucas, and I am joined by my co-hosts.
Abraham.
And Nick.
How you guys doing tonight?
I'm okay. Been a rough day. I'm not feeling too well under the weather, so I'm here, though.
Pushing through.
I'm pushing through.
We love that.
Yeah.
I'm doing good.
Good.
Ready
Glad to hear
to get through it. Ready
Yeah.
for the Oscars, honestly.
Yeah, me too.
That's-
Oscars are next week.
This week is going to be packed because my goal was to watch every single Best Picture nominated movie, and I've already conceded that I'm not going to do that because there's too
10.
many.
There's
Yeah.
10.
There's 10.
Yeah,
I'm not going to do it. I've watched the majority, and I'm satisfied with what I have watched,
me too.
although I'm going to try to pump out maybe 2 more this week.
Yeah, I watched All Quiet on the Western Front last Saturday,
Right.
and it was okay. It was good. I know a lot of people are like really hyping it up, but I've seen better anti-war movies out there. Come and see.
I was about to say, Come and See is the one.
Yeah,
that I'm
Come and
thinking
See
of.
is awesome. If you want a really good anti-war movie, I'd recommend checking that one out. But yeah, All Quiet on the Western Front was good. I know that that's nominated for Best Picture as well
It
as
is.
like Best Cinematography.
Dude, that one
and all
got
that stuff.
nominated quite a bit.
Yeah.
What do you think is going to win Best Picture, in your opinion?
Like,
What
what
do
I
you
want to win or what?
Objectively, what do you think will win?
Objectively, what
Maybe
I
let's do
think,
both.
That's
Yeah.
that's
Let
two
me hear
different.
I know
what
mine.
you want to win and what you actually think will win.
what I want to win is Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Me
I
too.
feel like that's all of us.
Me too.
What I think is going to win is either Avatar or Top Gun.
That's a bold.
That is a very bold
Avatar or
statement.
Top Gun will win.
I don't think Avatar's
think-
in the running at all.
Me either.
I don't know. Avatar
I-
killed.
but
It
Top-
killed.
It did kill. You're
It
right.
It
the
killed phenomenally.
but the Oscars don't take into consideration box office score.
No, they don't.
Let's just look at the reviews of. I don't mean, who cares, honestly. But that's what I think will win: Avatar or
Okay.
Top Gun.
You know, it would be. I wouldn't be surprised if Top Gun won. Only because
Yeah.
the critical reception of that movie was across the board fantastic.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
been phenomenal.
And it's made a heck of money. I know it doesn't factor in, but like
Yeah.
it made a lot, and everybody loved it.
Yeah.
Like it was a completely faithful
Yeah.
I would say adaptation, but
Yeah.
sequel pretty much.
I wouldn't be upset if it won. I really do want Everything Everywhere.
Yeah,
All at
I
Once
feel like
to-
all of us
I want
do.
it to sweep the Oscars. That's what I want. But in all actuality, I think the Oscars will probably give it to like Tar
Really?
or possibly Maverick.
Okay.
I think that
Real quick.
I think they might.
You want to know what Maverick made?
Probably like $22 billion.
No, way less. So it was 107 million to make it. It made 1.4 million dollars.
No, not million. It made
1.4 billion.
Yeah, I was about to
Excuse
say.
me. Excuse me. I didn't see the other comma. 1.4 billion dollars, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, it made
That's insane.
it made a lot of money.
I could also see The Fablemans getting a Best Picture.
So that's gonna be my prediction of what the Oscar people will choose is The Fablemans. Just
Fablemans.
because it's
Fablemans.
Steven Spielberg, he hasn't won in a while,
Yeah.
and I think that
He's won a couple, though, man.
I know.
You got to make room for the new guys.
I don't think I haven't seen the movie, but just from what I've heard, I think he's gonna get it.
Mm.
Either that or a surprise pick Elvis. What do you think about that?
I don't think that's Best Picture.
I don't think that's. Yeah, I didn't hear about it too much.
You don't think so?
No.
I don't know,
Because
man.
all the movies we're mentioning
I don't know if I
now-
could handle Austin Butler getting up there and being like, oh my gosh, thank you. I won Best Picture, mama. I did this for you.
Oh my gosh.
Because the movies that I've heard the most about are Top Gun, Everything Everywhere. I heard about The Fableman, Elvis, and Tar. The only ones that I've heard most of.
Okay.
If what I want to win, Everything Everywhere, or Banshees of Inisherin.
I was gonna say that's one that I wanted to talk about because
Yeah.
I freaking love that movie.
I did too.
I didn't
And
see it.
as much as I loved Everything Everywhere All at Once, I wouldn't be mad if Banshee's got it.
Neither would I.
Because Banshee, just the simple story and the dialogue in there, and just the characters,
Yeah.
I loved it.
Is amazing.
I loved it. Colin Farrell's incredible. Brendan
Yeah.
Gleeson.
Yeah, Colin Farrell even got nominated for Best Actor for the movie too.
Yeah.
Yeah, who do you guys think are going to win for Best Actor?
I want Brendan Fraser.
I'm pulling for Brendan because I went and watched The Whale in theaters and I was blown away by his performance.
But I think they're gonna give it to Austin Butler.
Yeah, that's hard. Austin Butler did kind of kill it with
He
that
did kind of
voice.
kill it,
He
but I
did.
think they're gonna give it to him. But I
Yeah.
want Brandon Fraser to win.
I want Colin Farrell to win for Banshees. I want something from Banshees to win just because
Yeah.
I love that movie.
It might win, but like Best Screenplay.
You think so?
I think. I feel like that it might
Okay.
because the screenplay is the dialogue in that movie is phenomenal.
It's top notch.
Yeah,
Martin McDonagh, I don't think he's won any Oscars either. I'm going to watch that In Bruges movie soon
okay.
because it's got literally it's Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson again
Yeah.
with Ralph Fiennes. How could that be a bad movie?
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see that.
What about who's nominated for director?
For director, let me pull it up. real quick.
Obviously, it's got to be Steven Spielberg.
Yeah, Steve.
Best
Fableman.
director
I know the
right here
Daniels.
Daniels.
is Martin
Martin McDonagh.
for-
McDonough, Todd Field for Tar, Ruben.
We look at each other. We're like,
I don't know how to say
not a fan of Tar, man.
have you seen that video of the dog going, like covering his snout? And it
Yeah.
goes, "Brr, brr."
I don't know how to say this last name. It's
Where?
Ruben Ostelud
Oh, it's that dude
for
from Triangle of
Sadness.
Sadness.
Oh, okay.
Both of
No
the
love
Daniels
for that movie.
So this is kind of cool. Both of the Daniels are up for best director
Yeah, because they're a pair. They're a
because they're a
duo.
pair, and then Steven Spielberg.
That's a stacked category too. Not gonna lie. What about best actress?
Best actress, it has to go to Michelle.
Yo,
Michelle Yeoh.
I don't
Michelle
know.
Yeoh.
I want her to win,
I will
It
say,
has to.
but I do think Kate Blanchett will probably take it.
I think so too. On a technical scale,
Yeah.
she absolutely kills it with those monologues that she has,
Yeah.
with her delivery.
Yeah,
Dude,
I
there-
think she'll probably take it.
Like, putting aside how we feel about the movie, just her performance in general,
Yeah.
I think is the thing that carried me through it.
I don't
Yeah.
know. I kind of would like to see Ana de Armas one.
I don't.
I didn't watch the
I
movie
didn't- I
Blonde.
didn't watch Blonde.
Okay, I heard some
I heard so many bad things. about
trash about Blonde.
Yeah.
Like,
it. Me too.
But I think it'd be cool to see her win
I-
just in general, and I think my love for her grew.
That's why.
because
That's
I
why.
I never watched Blonde, but my love grew for her in the episode that we did with her, which is
Knives Out.
Knives Out, and I was like, dude, she kills it. And then don't get me wrong, I have seen some parts of Blonde, but only the bad parts, of course. And
yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know. I'll give it to Kate here. I think she
Michelle Yeoh, dude.
Michelle. Okay, look,
I would love for Michelle Yeoh to win.
Yeah.
Michelle Yeoh on an emotional level wins it,
Yes,
but on a technical level,
she's people's
Kate wins
choice.
it.
Michelle Yeoh is people's choice.
Yeah.
But we're talking about the
that's what
Hollywood foreign press here, who's gonna.
Yeah.
They have made some bad decisions in the past.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah,
So-
we'll see.
For Best Actor, you got Brendan Fraser, Austin Butler, Colin Farrell, Bill Nighy, and Paul Mescal. and he's from After Sun. I never heard of that.
After
Yeah,
Sun,
that's the one I was
you
wanting to watch real bad. I haven't watched it
Bill
yet.
Nighy is from Living, and then the rest, of course, Banshee,
Hmm.
Elvis, and Whale.
Yeah. What about actor in a supporting role? I want Ki-Hai Kwan.
Oh,
I want Ki-Hai
as
Kwan.
Wayman.
As Wayman.
I just want to see his speech because he goes up there, he's gonna say something, and I'm gonna go.
He's going to make me cry.
Yeah, I'm gonna go.
He made me cry every time he's gotten on stage to accept an award.
I know. He's just the
Yeah.
most wholesome man ever.
Yeah.
Oh, I love him.
Yeah.
So you have that.
I'm relying on you guys for my categories.
Best adapted screenplay. So you have Living, Top Gun, Women Talking, Glass Onion, and All Quiet on the Western Frontier.
Adapted. That's interesting.
That's-
You know
yeah,
what?
that's
Every time I
interesting.
think of adapted, I always.
I would think of a book.
I
It
don't
is.
think
It's
of what
taken
they.
from. It's taken from original source material.
I know, but I would just call them sequels in some points.
Yeah, because Glass Onion is a sequel.
Like Maverick
Maverick's a sequel.
is a sequel.
But it's subject matter that's taken from an original source.
I know.
Top Gun was the original source. Knives Out was the original source. So now that they're building off of it, it's now adapted.
That's so strange to me.
Did you guys watch any animated films last year?
No.
Yeah. I
well,
think the
name
only one
'em.
that I watched that was animated would be it's not animated. Never mind. I would say Avatar, but that's not animated, right?
Animated in the sense that no, it wouldn't be in that
It would
category.
yeah. So
I heard
there's live
Pinocchio
action
was
as well.
great.
Yeah.
I heard Pinocchio was
Guillermo del
great.
Toro.
Yeah,
I
We love
Lisa
him.
watched that and she said she loved it.
I want to watch Marcel with the show with shoes on.
me too.
I've never seen it, but I want to watch it.
A24.
I heard
A24.
Puss in Boots is awesome.
I heard
Dude.
Puss in Boots kills it.
The last wish or
Yeah.
something. I was going to go and rent it, but it was not for rent. Or it was like you could buy it for 25 or you could rent it for 24 and I was like,
What?
What kind of a logic?
so I said I'm waiting, bro. I'm waiting.
I want Puss in Boots to win.
Yeah.
Piss in
Piss
he
in
did what in
boots.
his boots.
I want Piss in Boots.
Puss in Boots to
Yeah.
win. Turning Red, I heard it didn't do that good anyways.
It's good. I mean, it's okay. There's
it's all right.
Overrated is.
there's flaws. It's kind of like your classic Disney Pixar
Hmm.
movie, but it's way more.
Formulaic. Would you say?
It's and it's like got some characters that are just over the top, just over the top for no reason.
Best original screenplay?
Yeah, I'm saying everything everywhere.
Yeah, you
Takes
have-
that.
you have
Best original
EOA.
screenplay.
Oh yeah,
Banshee, Triangle of Sadness, The Fablemans, and Tar for that one.
I'm saying
everything ever for me.
Best visual effects. So we have actually one that we haven't heard of, The Batman, Avatar: Way of Water.
it's winning.
That's gonna win. Quiet on the Western Frontier. On the Western Front, excuse me. Black Panther.
Western Frontier. home on the range.
and Top Gun Maverick.
So you're the only one in this group that has seen Avatar.
I haven't. I
So
watched
you-
it in 3D and I loved it.
I'm gonna refer to you on everything Avatar because I'm
Yeah.
not
I'm boycotting.
That's the one I'm not getting to.
So, and you guys will probably actually hate on me. Is I never seen the first one, so I didn't understand the second
I
one.
watched the first one and it was not memorable for me.
Yeah.
People talk about it like it was like that was the best cinematic experience I ever had.
Well, at the time it
all
would
this
have
stuff
been.
like, and I understand. I watched it in 3D too, but when you see a movie like Parasite in theaters, that blows it away.
Yeah,
You
well,
know?
it's different. I mean, this, like, if you're thinking of pure animation right here,
That's. I mean,
or what's
like
the category we're talking about?
by the visual effects.
animation-
That's
Best
like
visual effects.
by a technical standard. Avatar's
Avatar's
blown
gonna
out of the
win.
water.
Yes, I will say even the first Avatar still holds up.
Yeah.
Like I watched it recently and it still looks incredible.
Yeah.
And I can only imagine how good this movie looks. I mean, you saw it in 3D.
I saw
right?
it in 3D and I thought that was insane.
You see the fish flying
Dude,
towards you, or what?
Oh my gosh! There's one scene where you're obviously. I'm gonna say a little spoiler. So they get introduced to a new island, a new part of this world that they're in,
Way of water.
and instead of like those dragons that they connect their ear to, they get like these fish.
Oh,
Bruh.
like Loch Ness monsters.
Dude,
or
and
something.
it's so legit because at one time they're just like gliding in the air and it's like gliding towards you. There's like a view of it, and you're like, I found myself where I backed up because it was so cool.
So let me ask you a question. Because in the first movie, they do the little tail thing connect, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like little.
But they also do that when they are smashing.
I didn't see any smashing from what I remember. I don't
The first movie, the guy and the girl do that together, and they're like, "No, we're tethered together." And
No.
it's like they smash. So are they smashing their animal? Like when they?
I don't know. Maybe there's also a
when they
part
get
in
on
this
there?
movie.
I don't know.
There's a part in this movie where like one of them kind of dies, and they like connect their.
This guy says the whole damn spoiler. He's like, "Oh yeah, the main character."
No,
He's dying.
It's not the main character. It's not a main character.
Okay,
It's not a main character. It's like it's literally like some side character, and
he
like
gives him what, like,
no, they get their hair piece and like tied to some tree, and it like shows them like, from what I remember, it shows them like a recap of their life, and then they come back to life.
yeah.
And I was like,
That's
what?
That's part of the first one as well. It like that tree houses the memories.
Yes,
of their ancestors.
the tree.
And it's like it's got those like little dandelion, little white.
Yeah, you know exactly what I'm
I know
talking
what
about.
you're
You've seen the
talking
movie.
about.
You've seen Avatar too.
The first one.
Yeah.
The next one that I want to talk about was
Are we skipping over the Batman?
Yeah.
Visual
I
effects?
want Batman to win, but it's not going to.
Dude, whenever the camera's upside down and you hear the boom, 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 and he's
want-
walking.
I'm
Oh!
surprised it didn't get nominated for best cinematography.
Yeah.
The movie is
And that's what I was
beautiful.
just about
It
to
is.
go to was best cinematography. Who do you think is going to win? I have
do we got?
Empire Light, All Quiet on the Western Front, Bardo, False Chronicle of a Handful of Truths, Elvis, and Tar. I've never heard the third one that I said, Bardo.
See, that's interesting. There's a lot that I don't know, so I have to
Yeah.
go based off of what I've seen.
probably All Quiet on the Western Front.
All Quiet's really good with their visual, or what is it, cinematography?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
pretty good. Like that, especially that beginning scene where we get that jacket.
Yeah.
We follow the guy that the
Yeah.
jacket gets repurposed to
Yeah.
give to our main characters. I was like,
Yeah.
that's pretty genius.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Elvis was pretty stylized.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
I would be surprised because I'm surprised that Elvis wasn't nominated for the visual effects.
Yeah, that's true. Because it was
Because
like
all the transitions and stuff and everything in that movie are
you see
crazy
like a
looking.
carnival in freaking
in someone's eye, and then you go in the eye, and it starts a whole nother scene. Like it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
The last one that I wanted to talk about
Yeah,
was...
we don't have to talk about it.
Yeah, 'cause some of them I don't really care for. Was Best Sound is the one I want to talk about. Top Gun Maverick, All
That's
Quiet
one-
on the
that
Western
one.
Front, Avatar, Elvis, and The Batman. So we thought Batman was only nominated for one. It's nominated for two.
Top Gun Maverick.
for best sound.
Yep. I'm saying Maverick.
Now, best sound, does that mean like the ambient noises,
It's the
I feel
sound
like it's
design of the
everything.
movie.
sound
I-
design? So it's not like the soundtrack. That's a different
No,
category.
because I have original
different-
soundtrack here, original score here.
Yeah, it's a different.
Something's in my.
Yeah, that's a whole different category.
Okay, best sounds, man. Maybe Top Gun.
Yeah.
Top
I
Gun's
would
pretty-
say I didn't finish Top Gun, but from what I watched, I feel like Top Gun has to kill it. The jet noises, like everything's on par with actual sound.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
And then best original score, since you brought it up, is Babylon, Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Banshees, The Fablemans, and All Quiet on the Western Front. Is best scores.
Best score. See, that's kind of interesting because
Nothing really stood
Nothing
out.
none of those
Yeah.
movies, I'm like, oh, the score on that. Like,
Yeah.
the only one I can say it's just because I've had emotional connection with is Everything Everywhere All at Once, obviously. But it's not
Yeah.
like, I mean,
don't-
when you're watching the movie, the score is insanely helpful.
Mm-hmm.
But it's nothing that I'm like, I gotta watch it afterwards.
Yeah.
I think there's a original song called. I can't even think of the name. I was listening to it on YouTube recently, and I enjoyed it, but
it's by Sunlux with Everything Everywhere All at Once.
right, but it's
Yeah.
missing something without the movie behind it. You
Yeah.
know, so it'd be interesting to see who wins that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll have to tune in next week
Mm.
to see what we thought about the winners and the snubs, all that stuff.
I'm sure we'll be upset about some of
Yeah.
them.
Yeah, so tune in next week and watch the Oscars and see what we think next week about what happened.
Yes, sir.
But for now, we're going to be talking about a movie that I love. I really enjoy this one. It came out in 1996. It is written by Owen Wilson and Wes Anderson and directed by Wes Anderson.
Nice.
It is both of their debut films, Bottle Rocket. And I got turned on to this movie by a cinema page that I followed on Instagram. And they posted the scene of Luke Wilson swimming in the pool.
Mm.
And I saw it and I was like, I've never seen that before. That's weird. What movie is this? And they posted that it was taken from Bottle Rocket. And I remember at the time I went and looked it up, and it was streaming on like Tubi for free. And I was like, huh. So I went and checked it out, and I pulled it up on Tubi, and then I was like, do I really want to watch it? I don't know. I'll find out. I don't know. Maybe I won't watch it right now. So I didn't watch it right then and there. And then Criterion Collection had their half off sale, and I went to my local Barnes and Noble and found the copy that I wanted, which was the second or third Criterion Collection movie that I bought. And I didn't know anything about it, hadn't watched it, but I knew I wanted to, and they had the only copy there. And I bought it, took it home, I watched it that night, and I fell in love with it, man. I had the biggest smile on my face the entire time. And I think this is like one of the first movies I really like dove into like all the supplements that come along with it and all the commentary and behind the scenes stuff and everything, because I don't know, something about the film just really inspired me. And it was really interesting knowing that this movie stemmed from a short film of the same name. And the short film was about like 13 minutes long. It was shot in all black and white. And the guys put it all together with their own money, and they just really made this thing because they loved making movies and they loved film in general and just wanted to be able to tell a story with one another. And watching the movie and then seeing the short film and seeing that these guys had such an original idea and that they were able to portray that idea and get it made, and then seeing where they are now.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It was something that was just incredibly inspiring to me. And it made me love the film even more because it had so much heart, so much charisma, and it had just this tiny little cult following that loved it to its core. And it had enough support to where Wes Anderson would later, go on to make a movie called Rushmore 2 years later, and that would be even more successful than this one. And then he would just go on from there and there and there. And I loved every minute of it, man, and I'm excited to talk about it. I wanted to know what your guys' first experiences with the movie was.
My first was from you. I came home from work, and I think Alexa had something to do that day, and you were like, "You want to watch a movie together?" And I was like, "Yeah." So we ordered some like pagers or something. And he goes, "I've been wanting to rewatch this movie. You had talked pretty high about it, and you were like, I love this movie." So I was like, okay, I'll watch it. And I watched it, and I loved it. And I watched it again today, and I loved it the same amount. It was exactly what Isaiah was saying. This movie just pulls you in, bro.
Yeah.
It's just, I think it's like a genuine movie. Now, you know how we always joke about it's a movie.
Yeah.
But this is like something that grabs you in.
Yeah.
And I think it was perfect, honestly. Almost. I enjoyed every minute of it. Talking about the scene before we even record, I was like, bro, this scene. Oh,
Yeah.
this scene. Like, so seeing it again just made me wanted to relive that first time watching it.
Yeah.
That first time watching it was a good experience.
Yeah, my first time was also from you. You told me about it, and it was that one of those Saturdays where you wake up and you're like, all right, what movie we doing today?
Yeah.
And I chose Bottle Rocket because it was on HBO Max. And I freaking loved it. Of the movies I've seen from Wes Anderson, it had been movies like Fantastic Mr. Fox, Isle of Dogs. Some of his more like stylized, story-driven movies, and this one was more like relationships and character and heart.
Yeah.
And I found myself in love. I freaking loved it, and in a way that I didn't have with any of his other films at the time. Because I haven't watched Royal Tenenbaums, I haven't watched Grand Budapest Hotel, or the is that one other one I always forget the name of, the Darjeet
The Darjeeling Limited?
Yes, haven't watched that one yet. But of his films, for some reason, like to see the start of his, his style, his role, his cinematography, even the characters he chooses to play.
Yeah.
Like having Owen Wilson all the way through his filmography. It was great. I loved it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm excited to dive in and to talk about just this movie in general. And I highly recommend it. It is streaming currently on HBO Max as well as I think Pluto TV or something like that.
I think it said Pluto TV, yeah.
Yeah. So if you've got any of those platforms, watch it. It's a great time. It's about an hour and a half. It is rated R for some language throughout the movie, I believe.
Some blood too.
Yeah, so
But
it's pretty minimal, and I enjoyed this movie a lot, so I'm excited to talk about it with you.
Check it out.
Yeah. We're going to go and start off with our first favorite scene. And my first favorite scene is the intro / the practice job. And I love the whole intro just because it immediately puts a smile on my face. So we get introduced to Luke Wilson's character. He's staying in this room. We come to find out that it's a mental hospital. And he's looking out the window, something like that. And in the background, you hear a faint caw, caw. And you look over, and the camera pans, and you see this guy hiding behind a bush, flashing a mirror, trying to do Morse code type thing. And he's sitting there, and then it cuts over, and it's Owen Wilson with this cropped haircut, and he's sitting there in this white polo in these black gloves, doing this little flashy mirror thing, and keeps going caw, caw. And Luke Wilson's character is checking out of this mental hospital, and this guy comes up to him and says, first I should say, Dignan, who is Owen Wilson's character, thinks that he is breaking Luke Wilson's character, Anthony, out of this mental hospital. And so Anthony kind of plays along like a good friend and grabs all of his sheets from the bed and makes a rope out the window to shimmy out, so that way he thinks he's actually breaking him out. And while he's doing this, a guy walks by and is like, "What's going on?" And Anthony basically says, "It's my friend Dignan. He has this fantasy or idea that he's trying to break me out of here. He doesn't know that you can check out any time that you want."
That's voluntary.
Yeah, this is a completely voluntary mental hospital.
I'm here because I want to be here.
Yeah.
I'm not trapped here.
Yeah, and he was but he has this whole notion that I need to be broken out. So
Right.
you think I could just climb out the window just to kind of appease him? It would mean a lot to him. And he's just all right, yeah,
Do it quick.
Do it real fast.
This doesn't look good.
Yeah, and so, climbs out the window, and he sees a couple people in the courtyard, waves by to them, gives them some hugs and stuff and everything, and then the entire time Dignan is come on, let's get out of here. Yeah, and then they hop on a bus and start catching up, and Dignan reveals to him that, they have this entire plan to, become rich thieves and to, have a ton of heists and all this stuff and everything, and Dignan's whole plan is that he met this guy named Mr. Henry through a landscaping job, and he also found out that he's a very prolific thief, but he does the landscaping as a front for his thievery, and he wants to get in with Mr. Henry so that way they can all be rich with one another and be living against the law and all this stuff. And Anthony's just kind of going along with it because that's what his friend wants. And they also have another friend named Bob who kind of goes along with it, but
Bob wants to be in.
Yeah,
man.
he wants to be in.
Sell yourself to me. He's you got to tell me why you want to be in this gang. He's I know you've got a car. That's really good leverage. You got to use that.
Yeah.
He's I'm not good at this stuff, man. I got a car.
Yeah.
And he straight up says, "I'm just gonna tell you the truth."
He's I want in, and I have a car.
And
he's all, that's good. That hits me right here. Yeah. But the whole intro leads into what's called the practice job. And what Dignan explains to Anthony on the bus ride, he pulls out this little notebook thing and tells him, we got to do a practice job so that way we can get a feel for what we're going to be stealing and all this stuff. And then we move on to our first job. And then we get in with Mr. Henry so that way we can actually do some real stuff and make some real money.
Right.
And their practice job is robbing Anthony's mom's house.
But they don't say that at the beginning.
No.
They're going in and they're acting real tactical, going in, taking the jewelry, taking the earrings, and just going in.
Yeah. And I just got to say, from this whole sequence, I just love that already, within the first couple of minutes of the film, you can already see Wes Anderson's style.
Mm-hmm.
It was already there, and he
Really
already
is.
had a vision for it. And it's just something that would continue to be developed over time until it was perfected. And I also just love how obsessed Dignan is with being a thief and like being, counter to what it is that people are wanting for him or something like that. And then, yeah, it is funny seeing the whole like robbery scene where they go in this house, they're taking, rings and jewelry, we had said, and a couple other things. And the entire time, like, Anthony's looking around his old room, I'm assuming, and like looks at these little toy soldiers and like notices one's out of place, so he like fixes it real quick, and then they leave and they're talking with one another, like debriefing at a diner or something, and he's like, I thought we were really good back there, we made a lot of good time, we stole some great stuff, like now we just need to dial it down a little bit more, and we'll be good from there. We just got to get another person in on this next job. And they're playing pinball in another scene, and I think Dignan lets it slip that he took earrings from his mom.
He's like, man.
And Anthony was like, you took the earrings? That was the one thing I told you was off limits. And then that's when we get it revealed that Anthony and him robbed his mom's house to like as a practice job.
He's like, I got those for my mom.
Yeah.
That's a gift from me. I can't steal them.
Yeah. And we get this whole reveal that, he had stole from his mom's house, and then goes and picks up his sister from school, tells her, give her these earrings back. And she's like, why do you have them? And he's like, since when do you ask so many questions? I love that whole sequence. I think it's hilarious, and it's a great introduction to our characters.
Oh yeah, for sure.
My favorite. So mine was the practice job, but my next one is the bookstore.
Okay, mine as well.
Gun.
But the shooting the guns.
The shooting the guns is a bro moment.
It's
for me.
not even that long.
It's like a 30
second
second
at
sequence.
max.
But it's so like I feel like that would be us.
Yeah, I
like
love
just
it.
going to a field, talking to a man, trying to buy like a what kind of weapon
They're
is
just
that?
Like
pistols.
he, yeah,
Like a
they
revolver,
meet up
pistols.
with like some sort of arms dealer. Like he just brings out a ton of guns for these guys to try, and they just make little targets and just start going. Bah, 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 bah.
And they're doing like different stances. There's that one scene where Owen Wilson, he's going,
He's all.
yeah, he's doing this whole number, and then he's shooting it, and then he goes, and looks back, and he's like, yeah, this is the one. This is the one. I'm like, I feel like that would be us.
Yeah.
Doing stupid crap like that.
Yeah,
Dude, they do so many random things. Like you said, he's going like this and going like this, and then out of nowhere you get a shot where all four of them are literally like lined up,
Just
literally
going
shoulder to shoulder and shooting the guns.
Yeah.
Like, what is that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think one of the ones that I laugh at all the time is whenever Bob shoots the gun, because he's like cringing real hard when he does it. So the whole time he's all like pulling it, and he's like hip firing it the whole time too.
That's so funny,
Yeah.
bro.
I love that whole sequence too.
Yeah,
That's
but that
hilarious.
definitely leads to the library
That
scene.
leads to the bookstore scene.
Mhm.
They finally get a third person, which is Bob,
Mhm.
and they're like, "Okay, we're gonna rob this store. Like, it's like midnight, I think, or something."
Yeah.
And so Bob, of course, is the getaway driver, and you have Anthony and Dignan
Yeah.
there. And Dignan's like, "Here, put this on," which is the stupid little piece of tape.
Yeah.
For
So
what?
He's all, put
supposed
this
to do?
tape on your nose.
And
For
he literally
what?
says, "What is this for?" He goes, "Exactly."
Yeah.
And I was like, "That's not gonna give." And the way they like try to go in there without like breaking a window or anything is
Yeah.
so
Dude, I
like,
love the way they get it.
Yeah.
He goes, he knocks on the
It's
wood.
my favorite quote.
I even love too whenever like it shows just a shot of the library, the bookstore, and it just says books.
It's like, what are you gonna steal here?
All it says is books.
At first, I thought it was a library.
I thought so too. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was like, "How are you gonna rob a library?"
Yeah.
they're either
Then they-
really smart because the library is really low key, they won't get in trouble, or they're
Yeah.
really dumb because there's nothing to steal.
Yeah, there's nothing there.
You can find an antique
Yeah,
book.
but
So he-
then they get in, and how do they get in?
They get in. He's like,
Like-
"Oh, I left my jacket. Do you have a lost and found?" And he goes, "We're closed. Come back tomorrow." And he goes, "But I need it tonight.
Yeah.
Can I get my jacket?" And he goes, "Okay, wait in." And out of nowhere,
Owen just tries to walk in.
Walks
He's
in,
like,
he
whoa,
goes-
whoa, whoa.
"Oh, I forgot something too." He goes, "What'd you forget?"
He goes, I forgot some cash in here somewhere. And he's like, oh, you're going to have to come back. And he's like, no, I think it was in the register. Get it out of here.
Like it's so bad.
Yeah, I love it.
No, Luke's character, Anthony's right behind him, just like grabs him, just like, "Okay, we gotta go back here, go to the office."
Yeah.
It's
Oh my
It's
god!
so
And
funny.
It's
that
so
whole scene is
comedic.
just funny.
Yeah.
the timing of it all. I think is what kills me.
Yeah. It's hilarious.
Oh, and just what they do to get the money here is ridiculous. I mean, they bring the guys into the little like managerial office, and he's like, start getting the bags, put the money in the bags.
Yeah.
Well, he
The
asked,
smallest
dude. He
bag.
asked where the money is, and this is probably the funniest part of the whole scene. He goes, "Where's the money?" And the guy goes, "In the drawer." And he looks at one drawer, and he goes, "It's not in there." Opens another drawer, and not in there. And then finally, last drawer opens. He goes, "There's the money."
Yeah.
Like, dude, he gets
Working.
so excited.
He gets excited and he's like, I didn't think I'd get this far. Like,
Honestly, that's probably something that I would do. I'd be like, "Oh shoot, I didn't think this far." Like,
yeah.
what do I do next?
I die laughing too whenever he's like, all right, get that money out and put them in the bags. And then he starts pulling out these like tiny little bags. He's like, not those little bags, you idiot. And the guy gets mad at him and goes, don't call me an idiot, you punk. And he goes, do you have any bigger bags for like atlases or dictionaries, sir? And then like he just kind of cuts away, and then Anthony finds some guy like just sitting down, like another employee putting books away, and he recognizes him, and he goes, "Hey, what are you doing in literature? They think they need you back in here in the office real quick." And then they bring him back. He gets involved. Yeah, that whole sequence is just hilarious.
The bookstore's probably one of the funniest scenes.
Yeah, and they leave with small bags of a bunch of money.
Yeah, they
Dude,
have
like 10 bags.
10 bags
He's holding
filled
it
with
up.
money, and he's like, "All right, let's go, get out of here." They're just running away.
It's like they're like little deposit bags. I feel like that's what
Yeah.
they are.
I even laugh too whenever they cut back to Bob's house, and it shows a scene of Dignan dancing with like some whiskey in his hand. And he's all, "Dude, that was great.
Dude, do you see the cop?
So
Do you see
good."
the cop lights in the background?
Yeah, and that actually hits on a deleted scene.
It's a goof.
Yeah,
It's a
so-
goof?
Yeah, there was
Like it wasn't supposed to be there.
no. So it was actually supposed to go into what is now a deleted scene from the film.
Oh.
They ended up cutting it because of for time's sake. But the deleted scene was going to show them getting pulled over by the cops, and then Bob getting busted for him having marijuana plants in the backyard.
Oh,
in the backyard. Because,
Yeah.
he does mention that he's like,
That was gonna be a
growing.
whole different.
Yeah.
That would have been a whole different route.
Yeah. That was where the deleted scene was going to go, but they cut it. Yeah. But yeah,
I thought it was funny.
that whole sequence is hilarious. It's one of my favorite scenes of the film too.
Yeah, my next one is not until he's talking to Inez.
Yeah, bring it.
To when he's asking her to leave.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's a little bit later.
Okay.
So if you have
I don't have anything.
Yeah, because my next
for a
one is not
while.
until we find her the second
Okay,
time.
so Inez is this random. They go to this hotel and they're trying to lay low.
Yeah.
And they do a bunch
On the
of
run from Johnny Law.
Yeah, and he's like, "Oh, and we're gonna get the yeah." He's like, "What did
Ain't
he
no
say?"
trip to Cleveland.
Yeah. They go to the hotel. And he's like, "We're gonna get the best room ever." And there's 3 beds in one room.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're making their plan on what to do. Owen Wilson or Dignan is like saying, "We gotta go undercover. You gotta dye your hair. We gotta go get haircuts." So they go and do that. And while Anthony is swimming, he comes up and he sees
A maid.
Yeah, a maid, and immediately he's like captivated by her.
Yeah.
And we come to find out that she's Inez,
Yes.
and she doesn't speak English,
Any
like hardly
English.
at all, and yet they still like are able to communicate
Yeah.
somehow. And
Hey, the world's a beautiful place.
Yeah.
they're so wholesome together.
Yeah, they are.
I love their characters. She's kind of like this. She doesn't like hardly ever talk,
Yeah.
and he's always like, "We have this feeling."
Yeah. He's
And,
like, I feel like I could be myself around you, man.
I love it when they're in the laundry room, and he's
he's like-
literally
he's all-
reading a book, watching the laundry go.
Yeah, and he's all, "This is great, man.
Yeah, he's
I love your doing laundry with you.
Exactly
just
how I
sitting
had
here."
pictured it.
I was like, bro, you're literally just doing laundry, and she probably doesn't care.
He's like, "What is that necklace? Is it open?" And she opens it, and it's this tiny little picture. And he goes,
He goes,
look
"Oh,
at
it's your
you."
little sister," or yeah, he's
He
like,
goes,
"Oh, this
"Oh,
is
she
you," and
looks
she
like
goes,
you.
"It's my sister," and he goes, "Oh yeah, it looks just like you."
He's
Just like
so
this tiny
tiny.
little picture
He's
right
like,
next to her.
"Can I keep it?"
Can I
And
keep
when he
it?
was like, I was like, "No, dude, don't keep that. That's important."
And
to
she
her."
didn't like know what he was saying until like finally he acts like he's gonna put it in the pocket, and
And
she
she's
goes,
like, "Oh."
"See," and that's all she said.
Yeah.
And like he goes and helps her do all of her duties or whatever and cleaning the house.
I
and
love
all that.
Inez, bro.
They end up having a party where he's making margarita mixes.
Banana daiquiris.
Yeah.
Daiquiris. He's pouring it, loving their life. And the scene I wanted to talk about was when they were there for a couple of days. The relationship's really going. And eventually he gets the idea to ask her to come for her to come with them, to leave. and he goes down there, and they have this kid named Rocky.
Yeah.
Rocky. Oh, I hate Rocky.
Rocky's the interpreter
Yeah.
for them so they can speak to each other. And he goes down there and he's like, Inez, he's like, you are, I got this crazy idea. Oh, even before that too, when by the pool, right? He's like, I need you to interpret. You're beautiful, you're intelligent, and like it's not by chance that I'm here.
Yeah.
I love you, basically. And I loved just the quirkiness of him. Like he was basically talking to Rocky,
Yeah.
and Rocky was so invested that he was like interpreting like the inflections that she would be saying, and he's not doing it perfectly, and he's like, and there's like that barrier there, and it's kind of hard, but it's still working, and she's got all these questions that are really obviously you should be asking them.
Yeah.
Like he straight up says, "Hey, come with me," and she's like, "Where?" And he's like, "What do you mean where?"
Yeah.
Just come with me.
Yeah, I'm like, these
Yeah.
are questions. These are answers you gotta have.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I thought it was good.
Yeah. Yeah.
She basically turns him down.
Yeah, she does.
Calls
She
him
does.
trash.
Yeah.
Yeah, she does.
She says you're like
She
trash.
says you're like a paper flying in the wind on the road.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what she says.
The way she said, she says, "Eres como un papel en el viento. You're a paper in the wind. You're nothing."
Because Rocky's
Something
like,
that. And
He's
he
like,
goes,
you're
trash.
You're trash. Like,
He goes,
he's
"You're
all-
trash."
he's all, it sounds a lot nicer in Spanish.
he's like, you're just trash.
And he goes right here. He goes, translating, "You're like a paper, you're trash." Like trash. He goes, like a paper by, it doesn't sound that bad in Spanish. That's exactly what he
It
says.
sounds horrible.
Yeah.
Like it sounds like she's destroying him.
Yeah. Their whole relationship is super wholesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the relationship.
Yeah. My next favorite scene is whenever they meet Mr. Henry.
Oh, okay.
Dump in the water.
Yeah.
Stupid.
Yeah.
How's the weather down there?
I loved it. I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah.
But we meet Mr. Henry for the first time, and there's a whole sequence beforehand where Anthony decides that, this whole life of crime thing probably isn't for him, so he gets 3 jobs. And he goes and delivers paper. He has a paper route with Bob. And then he also...
Some kind of construction or roofing.
Yeah, they
or
do like
something?
roofing
Roof
together,
job.
and then he also coaches a little league soccer team.
Yeah.
And that he finds it super fulfilling, loves it, and Dignan goes off and does his own thing, still trying to pursue being a criminal. And they eventually meet back up, and Dignan comes up to him and is like, "Hey, I'm in with Mr. Henry again. I want you to meet him so that way we can really get this heist thing going." And Anthony decides, all right, when can I meet him, and do I get a yellow jumpsuit as well, because those things are fire. I first off, I love that whole scene whenever Dignan comes to his Bob's house on the little motorbike.
Yeah.
Dude, there's a donut?
Yeah,
The
he,
little
like-
crotch rocket thing.
Yeah, and he comes in and he's wearing this yellow jumpsuit, and they're talking and all this stuff, and then Bob's brother, Future Man, rolls
I
up in that
hate him.
freaking yellow Bronco, and rolls up right next to Dignan, and he goes, "Who is this guy?" And he goes, "Dude, he looks like a little rodeo clown, doesn't he, Clay?" And he goes, "You look like a little banana." And I just die laughing at that the whole time. And then Dignan's like, "I'm from town. I'm from here in town."
Yeah.
Like,
And that's when they realized he used to cut their lawn.
yeah, and then they're like,
Start
"Oh, this
clowning him.
guy used to cut our lawn." Oh, and then Anthony eventually is like, "You know what, Dignan, I'm in, and you got to get me one of those yellow jumpsuits. They're pretty cool looking." And they go meet Mr. Henry, and they pull up to this guy's house, like shop, I guess you could say, and they're sitting there, and then Dignan's trying to open the door, and he's like, "Oh man, it's locked," and the entire time they're trying to figure out how to get in, and Mr. Henry's up top, and you just see a shot of this hand from the top of the building with the cup of water come out and just go and pour this water out, and then Dignan's kind of like, "What the heck?" And he looks up, and then he sees Mr. Henry, and he's like just cackling, thinking it's hilarious. And he just keeps doing it to him. He just keeps going, "How's the weather down there?" And just dumping water on him. And then I love too whenever they end up actually getting inside and they're playing ping pong with one another, and then talking about how they're actually gonna pull off another heist or something like that. But yeah, very small insequential scene, but one that I loved.
Let's see. I've got so this is as they're talking to Mr. Henry. They go to a couple places, like, and I think they even go to a party thing.
Yeah.
But they're at a country club, and that's when Future Man finally gets put in his place a little bit.
Yeah.
He goes, "What?"
Yeah, I love the freaking hi-ya!
He's like not really that intimidating.
No.
He goes, "Yeah."
Yeah,
He
he's
gets
like
him in like a hand hold thing.
Yeah. I died laughing at him just saying hi-ya! And then getting him in it, and he's all ow, ow, ow. All right, man, I'm sorry, I'm just messing with my brother. Yeah.
Stupid. But the whole time also I think it's revealed that whenever they were leaving, Inez talks to Owen Wilson, talks to Dignan, and says she says something, and then Rocky comes down and says what she says, but he doesn't know.
Yeah, Rocky goes down and says, "Tell Anthony I love him," and
he
he's
goes,
all, "What? Tell Anthony I love him."
And he
And he
goes,
just goes, "All right, man."
He's
Just
like, "All right."
And that's that's one of my favorite quotes is literally Rocky saying, "Tell Anthony I love him," specifically for a later scene.
Yeah.
Because
Well, he ends up saying like, "Hey, what'd you feel about Inez?" And he's like, "Yeah, she's pretty good. I didn't really spend a lot of time with her, so I was hesitant to answer." And he goes, "But that Rocky guy, he was kind of weird, man. He was really weird." He's like, "Oh yeah, why?" He goes, "He's saying he loves you." And he was like, "What do you mean he loves you?" And he's like, "No, he was saying he loves you, man." He's like, and he starts to realize like, "Oh, was he interpreting?" And he goes, I don't know. He was just talking to me. He's like, he's like, maybe I got it wrong. I don't know.
His whole delivery is funny too.
It's so
he's just
bad.
like, yeah, he was saying that he loved you and all this stuff, and he's all, was he interpreting? He go, I don't know. He was just saying that he loved you.
He was like, he spoke in English, so I was like, I know.
Yeah, and he was like, he was probably interpreting. I gotta get to a phone.
Yeah,
and he,
and
runs.
That's where the start of my favorite scene comes in, when he's calling all over the place to get to
yes,
Inez.
Yeah.
this is my next favorite scene.
I freaking love when he finally gets her.
Yeah.
And she goes, "Hello?"
Yeah.
And he goes, and she says, "Anthony?" And he goes,
she remembered my name.
Dude, I was so happy for him because it's like you see him. He basically got called trash by this girl he loves,
Yeah.
and then that's all he thinks about is her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And finally, she
No.
recognizes him.
Yeah, he says she recognized my voice,
Yeah.
or something like that, and he's just talking to her, telling her, "I love you," and all
Yeah,
this
he's like,
stuff.
rumor around town is,
You love me,
you love me.
and she goes, "I do."
Yeah.
Oh, it was so good. It was
Yeah.
so rewarding to see this conclusion to their relationship.
Yeah.
It's even a wholesome feeling. Him commenting on her English, and he's like, "Man, your English is getting so good now. You're almost fluent. I could tell." Like, it's just.
It
Super
doesn't say
wholesome.
how long has it been though, huh?
No, it doesn't.
Probably
A couple
while.
months. I want to say
Yeah.
a couple months.
Yeah, maybe.
I wish I knew.
I did too.
Yeah.
I wish I knew.
Straight up, one of my favorite scenes.
Yeah.
It was the scene where I was really like cheesing
Yeah.
from ear to ear. I was going,
Yeah. And then last one for me is the last heist.
the cold
Yeah,
storage
the
heist.
cold storage
God,
heist.
Hinkley
this
cold
is
storage.
Just the most chaotic.
Unorganized.
Yeah.
You would think with a man who's got a 50-year plan and how he's going to live in the 21st century plan that
Yeah.
everything should go smoothly.
Yeah.
And yet it
Everything went
falls
wrong.
Yeah.
apart.
Yeah. I was dying laughing just thinking about what's the reward? Like they're robbing a meat inspection office.
They're not getting anything.
Like
Was that safe? I don't know what's in that safe.
yeah, but I was laughing at just the optics of it at first, because they pull up to it in this red VW van. They all hop out. They're all wearing these yellow jumpsuits.
Almost
They've
like
got-
a GTA heist, bruh.
Yeah, they got guys set up in certain spots, and it shows the building. It just says Hinkley Cold Storage, and you're like, what the heck is this place? What are they going to get from here, right? They come in, and things start going according to plan. They're going, up and down the elevators, trying to find some stuff. First off, I got to say, I love Kumar.
Kumar's cool.
Kumar,
He's
the goat, dude. I love him.
frustrating.
He's so funny to me.
He's- What was his deal?
Yeah,
He was just sitting on the couch, not doing anything.
I loved him, dude. But I also just love him too. Whenever they're sitting in the van at first, and it's before they go into the actual facility, and he's like, "All right, well, what's the other guy's name?
The Apple guy.
Applejack.
Okay,
Applejack.
I was gonna
He's
call
a-
it Apple Turnover.
Yeah, he's
I was searching right here. I didn't
he's
know.
he's all right, Applejack, you ready? And he's like, I'm ready. And he goes, all right, Kumar, you ready? And he just goes, and he goes, all right, let's get lucky.
Yeah.
And they run inside and they go up into the office area, and Kumar is supposed to be like the safe cracking expert.
He's got the touch.
Yeah, he's got the magic touch. And so they go to this safe that they find in the meat inspection office, and they're sitting there trying to get the code cracked and everything. And while that's going on, there is just chaos ensuing. While they're happening, Bob is like, man, I'm down here all alone. I want to go up there with you guys, man. I'm bored.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, you're supposed to be lookout. You got to stay here and stay at your post. And then the entire time that's going on, some guys come back from lunch, and then
I don't even. Were they in the freezer or something?
I don't know.
Wherever they come from, he's like, "You're supposed to be at lunch.
Yeah.
You're always at lunch."
Yeah, and they're like,
Not always.
Yeah, they're like, not always. He goes, yes, always. Then he's like, get over here, and they're all pointing their guns at them. And then by the time like they're all pointing their guns at him, he's like, all right, you guys need to put your masks on.
I
And
know.
he's like, and he's all, they already saw our faces. Like, what good is it for us to put our masks on now? And he's like, I don't care. Put your masks on. So they all put these like stockings over their face.
Yeah.
And they're holding these guys hostage. And then all this, they're just yelling at each other, having a screaming match. And Dignan just starts freaking out and just goes, ah, smoke grenade! And just like throws a smoke grenade and just starts like smoking out this room that they're in. And then the fire alarm goes off and they're like, ah, what's that noise? And then
It is the most chaotic. And the Kumar doesn't even do his.
Yeah.
He can't do. He's like,
Yeah.
I messed up bad.
yeah,
okay."
they leave
He straight up
Kumar and
says-
he's just sitting on the couch, not doing anything. He's all, Kumar, what are you doing? You're supposed to be
He
breaking
goes,
in.
I blew it.
And he goes,
I blew it.
it, man. I blew it. Like,
I lost my touch.
Did you even have the touch to begin with?
yeah, dude, it's so funny. And
Absolute
then
chaos.
they're while all that chaos is going on, they're freaking out because of the smoke, and then someone shoots the gun on accident and accidentally shoots Afrojack. And then Applejack, and then Applejack goes into like a heart attack like mode, like he's just sitting there freaking out, and everyone's like, "What's going on with Applejack? I think he's having a heart attack.
Dude.
I don't know. We got to get him in the elevator." So they're like grabbing him, and then they all get split up somehow. And like everyone but Applejack stays in the elevator because the elevator broke down. And so they're like, we got to leave him. Like, we just got to go. We got to make a run for it. And Dignan tells everybody to run. And then Dignan and Anthony have this moment where they're like, oh, I'm going to go back for Applejack. And they're like, no, I am. You got to go. Run.
Let me
And,
have this last one.
Yeah, and then Dignan they have this moment with one another where Dignan looks at him and he's like, let me have this one, man. Like, I've been wanting to do something with my life this entire time. Let this be it. And he tries to go back for Applejack. And I love this whole sequence where he's goes back for him, puts him in the van because he's the one that's got the keys. And then the entire time he's in there, Applejack's just passed out and the other door is locked. So he's trying to open it up, and then the cops come. They're telling him, get down. And then he's standing there for a little bit and then just runs through the facility. And I love the whole chase through the facility where, he goes into a door that clearly says not an exit and just gets stuck there. And then these cops come in and just start beating him up. And the entire time this whole chase is happening, this song 2000 Man by the Rolling Stones is playing, which just, I don't know, it feels so fitting for the movie. And then from there, he ends up going to jail.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end of the movie, the guys all come and visit him while he's in the state penitentiary, and they, share a burger with him out on the field. And then as their visiting time closes, Dignan tries to make one last attempt where he was like, all right, did you guys bring the dynamite, or did you bring a grappling hook? And he's like, what are you talking about, man? He's like, I've been planning an escape from here this whole time. I know how we're going to do it. You need to put the grappling hook up here, and you're going to shield me. Bob's going to shield me from the guards because they don't shoot civilians. And the entire time he's like, Bob and Anthony the whole time are like, you're crazy, man. We're not doing this right now. And he's like, we're doing it now, go. And they're like, this is wild. This isn't happening. And Dignan kind of laughs and then looks at Anthony, says, isn't it crazy to think that you were the one in the nut house and now I'm in jail? And then they kind of chuckle at one another, and then they share one last look before the movie ends.
Yeah, like a little goodbye.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's Bottle Rocket for you.
Yep. Very good movie.
Yeah.
Very, very good movie.
Yeah, that's it for the favorite scenes. Let's get into some best quotes.
My first one is whenever he talked to Grace, and they do throughout. Grace, first off, he's like, "Wow, you're a little chatterbox, aren't you?"
Yeah.
And it's when he goes back and he's like real in distress.
Yeah.
And he's like, she called me a failure.
Yeah.
She called me a failure. And he goes, and then Owen Wilson goes, what? She said you were a failure. What has she ever accomplished with her life, man? That's so great. And she's like 10 years old.
10.
I'm like,
Yeah, I was dying at that too. Another one for me is, what are you putting that tape on your face for? Or what are you putting that tape on your nose for? And he just goes, exactly.
One that I thought was funny was when Anthony meets an eggs, and as he goes, which part of Mexico are you from? And she goes, Paraguay.
Yeah. Yeah. Another one for me I died laughing at was, so Bob ends up leaving them whenever they're at the motel because his brother, Future Man, gets arrested for the marijuana that he was growing in his backyard, and he feels bad. So he has this whole conflict where he was like, do I go back and, vouch for my brother and get him out because, it's wrong and all this stuff. And Dignan and Anthony are like, man, Future Man is a bully. He's mean. Let him sit there for a couple days. Give us 48 hours to figure out, what it is that you're going to do. And Bob eventually decides, no, I'm going to take the car and I'm going to leave. I'm going to just leave you guys here and go take care of some stuff. And it shows this shot of, these keys getting taken. And then the next morning, Dignan runs out and he's like, Bob, where'd he go? And then Anthony's like, what's happening? And then Dignan looks at Anthony and says, Bob's gone. He stole his car. I died
how does
laughing
he steal
at
his
that.
own
I was
car?
like, how'd he steal his car? It's his. Like,
it's literally his car.
I was dying laughing at that.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Another one that I died laughing at too is at the scenes whenever they're at the motel. There's a scene whenever Anthony is trying to convince Dignan to, go out with him and to kind of, blow off some steam. He's like, come on, we'll go out to the bar, have some drinks, and, just forget about some stuff. And he's like, all right, fine, let's go do this. And then the next scene they cut over, and Dignan's sitting at like a urinal in this bar, like peeing. He's got this like happy grin on his face. And this guy comes in and he's singing a song, and then he goes, you're in the military, yeah? And he goes, no, I just got short hair, man. Like, I just died laughing at that whole interaction too. Yeah.
I had one when they like break down on the side of the road, and he realizes that he gave all the money to Inez, and he's like, Inez, that's inappropriate to give her all that kind of money. He's like, she's just a housemaid, and he goes, don't call her a housemaid, man. Don't call her a housemaid. And he's like, he's intimidating him, and he goes, her name is Inez. You don't know a thing about her. Her name is Inez. And he goes, her name is Inez, and my name is Dignan, so what? Like, you don't get it, man. You're not understanding. I died at that.
Yeah.
I have Rocky saying, tell Anthony I love him.
Yeah.
And specifically because I hate it. Just because I'm like, gosh, if only Anthony knew.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then my last one is, I have CRS.
Yeah. Can't remember.
Can't remember stuff.
Can't remember crap.
Yeah.
Can't remember crap.
If that's it for the best quotes, let's move into some bro moments. My first one is finding out that the crew that Dignan is talking about is just his old landscaping job.
Yeah, and that he got fired.
Yeah.
Dude, my first one was the sorority girl. When they get to Bob's house.
Oh,
She's
yeah.
kinda like
She was trying to like get at me.
Yeah, she was. And she's like, You're
so
kinda she's
difficult.
Like, yeah, she's all, you're so
complicated.
And he goes, I try not to be. Like, yeah, I love that whole thing. Another bro moment for me is when they pull up to the motel for the first time, and it's like a Love's gas station that's in the back, and gas was $1.05.
Oh, in 1996.
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, I wish gas was that. That's crazy.
Mm.
Yeah. Another one, whenever Dignan gets beat up at the bar, in the background.
Oh
so
yeah, and he's
funny.
going caw.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you didn't hear him.
Yeah, and the entire time, Inez and Anthony are sitting outside the bar, and some guy comes up and they're speaking Spanish, and
like,
Anthony doesn't know what's going on, and he goes, "Man, that guy sure had a lot to say. Man, just chatterbox, dude. Like, can you see I'm sitting here, man?" And the entire time that's going on, Dignan is playing that guy that he talked to in the bathroom. He's playing pool, and they end up getting in a fight, and the entire time he's getting beat up. And you hear Dignan being like, "I'm going to call my gang to come in here and help me." Then he goes, "All right, you're asking for it. Caw, caw." And the entire time they don't hear him. They're just talking, and he's just getting beat up in the background. That was super funny, too.
Dude, again, buying the fireworks and shooting them out of a car?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
Bro,
That's-
I mean, it sounds fun.
That's freedom right there.
Yeah.
That's America.
Yeah.
I'm what I imagine here playing in the background is America.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Inez getting the money in the envelope.
Yeah.
It's a huge
What was that?
moment.
$500.
Yeah.
Yeah, like $500.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I put
also-
freaking Mr. Henry doing karate.
Oh.
with this business partner, and
Yeah,
he's
you
in
guys-
tighty
he's all-
white.
Yeah.
and he's going.
"You got to go back a little more."
He's going. What?
Yeah. I even put down, too, Dignan freaking slicing
Yeah.
Anthony with the screwdriver.
Mm-hmm. Gets him on his nose.
Yeah.
It's pretty.
That was pretty wild, too. Another one, whenever they're having the party, and James Caan has his little ponytail. Did you guys see that?
No, I don't
No.
think I did.
So they're sitting there at the party. He's wearing like this like kimono and like socks and like Tiva sandals. And he's got like, no joke, like a little 1-inch ponytail on the top of his head.
Does he really?
Yeah. I saw it and I was like, what is that, dude?
I totally missed
I'll
it.
have to show you guys a still from that part. It's wild.
Do it.
And then lastly, seeing James Caan rob Bob Blind.
Yeah, that pissed me off.
Isn't that crazy?
Because that was his, I bet you that was his whole plan anyways.
Yeah, was to rob them while they were out on a heist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he's like, Bob's got a nice house.
Yeah.
Stole literally everything.
Yeah.
That was a big
Crazy.
bro moment for sure.
Yeah. I even laughed too at the ending scene whenever they're in jail. And Dignan is like, "I made you guys belt buckles." And he goes, "I made some belt buckles for the rest of the guys in the crew, but I don't know. I mean, you can give them to them. There's no hard feelings on mine." You know.
He was like, "Oh, they get that grand piano? It's probably like 10 grand.
Yeah.
Like, kind of poking at him.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that was super funny too. Any other bro moments here?
No.
Mm-mm.
All right. Let's move into some facts.
Yeah. So to make this budget, for the budget, it made, I hate to say it, it was $7 million to make this movie.
Jeez.
Opening weekend, it made $124,000.
Yeah.
U.S. and Canada made $560,000, and then worldwide, I don't think it went worldwide, so it stayed at $560,000.
Yeah.
So $500,000.
Yeah.
And with that being said, after the movie bombed so bad, Owen Wilson actually considered going into the Marines because he was convinced that his acting wasn't going to get him that far.
Yeah.
And look at him now.
And look
yeah.
at him now, Lightning McQueen.
Ka-chow,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah, I was reading too actually in regards to the box office failure that this was. Partly was due to the movie only releasing in like 49 theaters.
49 theaters, I read that.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. And another thing too, this movie was, so I had mentioned it was originally a short film that got made into a feature-length film. And the studio that produced it just believed in it so much that they were, able to get behind it and produce the film. And whenever they entered their short film to Sundance Film Festival, it was like everyone was loving it, raving about it, thinking it should be made into a film. And then when the feature length came in, they entered the feature length film into Sundance Festival. Everyone hated it.
What?
Everyone.
Why?
It was like unanimously rated like extremely low.
I kind of want to watch the short film now
Is it
just
like-
to compare them.
Yeah, it's like 13 minutes, and the short film is awesome because you still feel like they have that same DNA and throughout it all, but it's just in black and white because it's all that they could afford.
Right.
But yeah, whenever the feature length came out and they entered it in the film festival sequence, little run that you do, it was not loved. People did not like it in
That's
the film
crazy.
festivals. And then I was reading too that an LA Times article came out about the movie that said that the people at Sundance got this wrong. This movie is extremely original and has so much to say about your relationships and your friendships and all this stuff, and it's comical. We don't know what they got wrong with this one because this was an awesome movie, and it kind of gained a little bit of a cult following, and because of that real strong cult following, the movie gained traction afterwards, whenever it was not in its box office run, and the studio that helped Wes Anderson produce the first film saw that a lot of people had this real strong following for the movie and loved it, and he ended up being able to make Rushmore after that.
Yeah, which even gained him even more popularity.
Yeah. They even gave him a bigger budget,
which is surprising.
Yeah, with the budget that you got for the first film and you didn't make it back, they gave him an even bigger one for Rushmore. Yeah, and I think that they made it back.
I'm wondering that would be interesting to know. So he goes from the film that had the worst test screening points in the history of Columbia Pictures at the time, to being where he is now. I think
Oscar nominated.
Yeah, and almost all of his movies are beloved.
Yeah,
is just a testament to perseverance, pretty much.
Yeah,
and we really do get it wrong sometimes. I mean, we really do. Like with the Thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that John Carpenter comes to mind.
Yeah,
people didn't like that. I watched that. I freaking loved it.
Yeah.
So it's crazy.
Yeah.
The budget was $9 million and it made $17.1 million.
Yes.
And that's the one I gotta watch next.
Yeah, I'll let you borrow it.
Yes, because you also have Criterion, don't you?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, I was actually reading too. I thought this was just really wholesome, but co-writer and director Wes Anderson established such a good working rapport with the cinematographer on this film. His name is Robert D. Eumann. I think I'm pronouncing his name correctly. But they have such a good working relationship with one another that he's been the cameraman on every Wes Anderson film since the first one.
Every single one of them?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. So
speaking about wow, when Anthony shows Dignan his sketchbook in the diner, I believe. This is the first. No, sketchbook is when there's scoping out the meat thing. That's the sketchbook part. That's what I'm thinking of.
Are you talking about the Inez drawing?
No, he doesn't say wow on that part.
Or like his notebook whenever they're on the bus.
When they're on the not on the bus. Well, he shows them a notebook in when they're outside of the meat thing.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So then that's where he says it, and he goes, "That's the first time you actually hear Owen Wilson say wow, his famous wow."
Yeah.
On camera.
Yep.
This is the first time for me
in the Marvel universe.
I also did. This is the debut film for Owen and Luke Wilson.
Yeah.
Well.
Yes. I'd even read
So
too
wild.
that they originally met in college. They were classmates in the University of Texas, and they took a screenwriting class with one another. And at first, they kind of were like standoffish to one another, but slowly became friends because of the class. And because of that screenwriting class, they both decided they wanted to make a film together. And this is what came out of it, the short film. And originally, whenever they wrote the movie, Owen Wilson had no plans to act in the movie at all.
Really? It was just going to be Luke?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, he had no plans to act. He just wanted to write. And then whenever he got into the acting, it only went up there from him.
Wow. I never would have thought that.
Yeah.
He seems like a crucial part. For him to not be there would be pretty interesting.
Yeah. But yeah, that's about it for me for the facts.
Me as well.
Yeah. All right. What didn't work in this movie?
I will say it's his first film. So a lot of things were not refined. There was a lot of edits that were a little disconnected or like didn't really, they kind of lagged behind a little bit. Like it didn't have that perfection that he's kind of known for in his more recent movies.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of gave it a little slack for that because it's his first film. Obviously, it's not going to be perfect. It added to the charm, but there could be a little tightening here and there with that.
Okay.
That's one thing.
Okay.
I did wish the movie was kind of a little clearer, if that makes sense. Or maybe it's just my TV. It almost looked like it was staticky.
Oh, like grainy?
Yeah, like grainy. That's the word I was looking for.
That wasn't the case for my Criterion one.
Yeah, see, and it probably was my TV. I just watched it on HBO Max. So it was kind of grainy, but I didn't really think too much about it.
Do you have anything? By
I
chance?
don't.
I was gonna say I think where this movie kind of falls apart for me is the third act or the last heist.
Okay.
I think I get why it's there, but to me sometimes it's like a little too chaotic and a little too like everything's happening, everything is kind of breaking down a little bit, and this is where you really get to see a lot of the like the intro to his like, or just like the cracks, you know, the least refined areas, like when he goes and he's getting tackled, he gets thrown into that frozen box of like seafood, and the boxes are like light and flying around like they're empty. He gets placed on this bed of ice, and the ice is obviously fake. Yeah, it's scenes like that where I'm like, I get it, but it's right there in front of my face. It's like fake. You know what I mean? This is a movie right here. Yeah. Instead of it being more of that real human emotion, it was like, oh, I'm like, okay, I'm watching a movie. Oh, and it's characteristic, you know, it's part of the charm, but I think just that last little bit there, I was kind of like, kind of just falls apart a little bit. Just a little bit. Okay. Anything else?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Personally, what does work for me, I don't know. I love the authenticity of the film, and that comes with the little hiccups and stuff for me. The things that, you know, you kind of get wrong on your first movie that you only get better with time. And for me, when I watched this movie, I don't see like a ton of stuff that's wrong with it, and it kind of blows my mind that, you know, they were able to make such a great film from the jump. Oh yeah. Like usually people gotta work at it to like really get their style down, or to like really get, you know, the process of like making a great story onto film. It takes a while. And it's just incredible to me that that Wes and Owen were able to just do it from the jump. Oh yeah. And a lot of that stuff where like, you know, like the editing or it's the other things, like to me, I kind of love it for that reason, because it just feels like this is kind of what we had, you know, and this is all we could do with it. So, you know, this is what we had to do. And I love that for the movie, or I guess I should say it makes the movie feel so much more authentic and raw, rather than a lot of his new movies now, which are very clean and like almost like artificial kind of feeling, like they're like very precise and symmetric. And I don't get me wrong, I love that about Wes Anderson's style, but knowing that that's what he would go on to, and this is where he started, I don't know, I love that about this film.
Yeah, the more I think about it too, the more I realize like part of the, you know, the little cracks in the system, the looseness of the editing and all that kind of falls in line with a lot of the tone of the film too, because the tone really is set of like it's very comical, but it's these two guys that are very like childlike. Yeah. And they do kind of childlike, silly, goofy plans that are somewhat serious, but you know, there's nothing really that you have to take too seriously. Yeah. And that kind of, the tone really lines up with the way that it's directed.
Yeah. I mean, Dignan acts like a kid.
He does. Yeah, they all do.
Like, think about the scene whenever Bob takes the gun and he goes, "Put the gun back. I can't focus if you don't have the gun on the table and you keep playing with the gun. You're not paying attention to me if you're playing with the gun." And then, like, while he's doing that, Anthony takes it, kind of looking at him. He's like, "Anthony, put the gun back." Yeah. Like, and you know, he's having a temper tantrum. Yeah. You know, he's like, "I'm the boss and you got to do what I say. And if you don't do it the way that I said it, that's incorrect." Yeah. You know, like my niece does that. Mm-hmm. Like, so it's just fun. Yeah. That's another thing that really does work for me, is I just think this movie is just fun in general. Mm-hmm. I think it's just a great time. It's an hour 30, so it like doesn't overstay its welcome for me.
Not at all.
And it's just a great watch.
Yeah. I would say too, the heart of the film here is the characters, and I think the characters are great.
The characters killed it.
The writing, I love it. It's this very simple, very subtle comedy.
Yes.
And to me, I love that.
Yeah, me too.
I really enjoy the comedy here works
Yes.
entirely for me. I never felt tired. I never felt like it was being forced onto me.
Mhm.
I never, not a joke went by where I was like,
Yeah.
it's that kind of subtle humor in the acting, that very like kind of ironic humor.
Yeah.
I just, it speaks to me in a way that hardly any other movie has.
Yeah.
I think Wes Anderson has really just found that and built upon it.
Yeah. I was watching something too at the beginning before we started recording, and it was an interview about this movie, and Owen Wilson had said whenever they were writing this, they originally wanted to go for something that was a lot more gritty and grisly, like Godfather or Goodfellas or something like that, and then he said they got through the first act of the film with that tone in mind, and then
do that with the dialogue they have, though. It's like,
yeah, and then they recognized, like, well, wait a minute, we don't really like come from a background like that. Like, we don't really have any experience with anything like that. So like, maybe we should try to make this into like sort of a comedy,
right?
You know, and that's whenever the whole rewrite came and all this stuff, and that the movie came to be what it is today.
Mm.
Yeah,
I couldn't imagine him that say like F you, because really, when you want to get more gritty and more like deep, you just start like talking, like gangsters or like like the bottom of the barrel stuff.
Yeah. Funny to say too, actually, in regards to Goodfellas, this movie is Martin Scorsese's number 7 pick of his top 10 movies of the 1990s. So if Martin Scorsese loves the movie,
You got it too.
Yeah, what does that have to say about the movie?
You gotta at least try it.
Yeah,
At least give it a chance.
yeah. I have to say too, for it being a debut film for Owen and Luke Wilson,
They killed it.
the acting is just great.
Killed it.
I love it. Their line delivery is awesome.
It's-
The comedic timing is perfect every time. Like, I loved it. I love their acting here is great.
I love how, speaking about the characters again, I love how complicated their relationships are together, especially with Bob. Like, they're all friends, and it's kind of hard because at first I was like, okay, it's Luke and Owen Wilson. Obviously, they're going to be brothers in the film, but they're just friends.
Yeah.
And they've got this very, they really care about each other in a way that's kind of hard to describe. You do kind of crazy things for them because you care about them, and it's very complicated. And I love Inez. She's simple.
Yeah.
It's like there's the language barrier that makes it even more simple, and yet it still works and fits into the film where everything is kind of crazy and complex, and you got this like very nice, simple, wholesome, lovely character.
Yeah.
As an Inez, and I just think it all fits together so perfectly.
Yeah. Definitely.
I love it, man.
Yeah.
Something that I think works for this movie, and I think it for everything, is I can rewatch the movie right after this, and I'd be okay with it.
Yeah. I think this movie is also extremely rewatchable.
And it's, I know I will find myself returning back to this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Last thing, I kind of hit on this a little bit in the beginning of the episode, but I think just one of the things I really adore about the film is just seeing the vision that Wes Anderson had prior to making the film.
Mm.
You can just tell that this guy had such a love for telling stories and for cinema, and it's incredibly inspiring to me to watch these guys, execute the vision that they have, and then seeing where they are now because of this one idea that they had, and then seeing somebody else watch that idea and say, I think you got something here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And taking a chance on them, and now, propelling them into stardom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's about it for what did work for
Me as well.
One thing else I'll hit on real quick that does work: music choice.
Mm.
I think music choice in every Wes Anderson film is always perfect.
Oh yeah, it just highlights the scenes rather than drowning them out in a very iconic song.
Yeah.
But I think it kind of adds to
Yeah.
the complexity of it.
Yeah. I like to think of him and Martin Scorsese as these him, Martin Scorsese, and Quentin Tarantino as always having the perfect song choices for a scene.
Mm-hmm.
And I think all the song choices and everything, the score that was used for this film is just perfect. But yeah, who wins the movie?
I put Owen.
Me too.
I put Luke.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I feel like Luke to me is the heart of the film.
yeah,
He does have a lot, but Owen is just so remarkable.
Yeah, I love Dignan.
Dignan is just-
I love Dignan. I guess I'm gonna go Owen here.
Okay, I'm going Luke here.
All right. What are some themes?
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't write any down.
Okay. I put down, this is a heist film that has much more to do with friendship and love than it does heists.
Oh yeah, the heists are not that big a deal in this movie at all.
Yeah. Or it could be just a movie simply put, like a movie about like trying to get to your goal and barely meeting it.
Yeah.
But still looking at it and being like, but I did it though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like barely attaining your goal, but being happy with that.
right. And I think part of that too is just be practical.
Yeah.
When it comes to goal orientation, you just be practical.
Yeah.
Know what you can do and achieve that.
Yeah.
They knew that they could rob a bookstore,
Yeah.
and they did it, and it worked.
Yeah. But when it comes to robbing a meat packaging plant and you're talking about having grappling hooks and pole vaulting and explosives and helicopters
Yeah.
and all this stuff, it's like, this might be a little too much,
far
man.
You say hand gliding too.
Yeah, he's like, we're gonna do hang gliding, man. This is
Yeah.
gonna be crazy. Yeah, love it.
Yeah.
What are we rating this?
I give it an 8.
Okay,
I give it an 8 as well.
okay. I might blow you guys out of the water, but
I give it a 10.
yeah, I give it a 10.
A 10.
know.
Wow.
No, I don't.
think-
You didn't blow me out of the water.
I think this might be my favorite Wes Anderson movie.
Really?
Yeah, I it's definitely the one that I have returned to the most.
Yeah.
So I should give his filmography a little bit more attention. But yeah, I
But
I
when your
love
heart's set on something, your
I-
heart's set on something.
I love this movie.
Okay.
Regardless of all the flaws that I know it has and everything like that, I watch it and I'm just like, I
Jesus.
love it, dude. It's it's great. So
Yeah.
I enjoy this movie. But yeah, that's about it. If you guys have any comments, any questions, or anything like that, leave it in a comment below on the YouTube channel or over a rate and review on the audio platforms. What you can also do is subscribe to the YouTube channel and give us a like. Hit the bell notification so that way you can stay up to date with our videos that we're putting out. And if you want to get in contact with us, we got all of our methods of contact in our episode descriptions. So if you want to hit us up on Instagram or the email or Letterboxd or something like that, then definitely hit up those methods of contact and see what we have to say. And let us know what you're thinking.
Yep.
But other than that, we're going to move into our next pick for the week, which is Nick.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So next week we're going to talk a little bit about the Oscars, about how that went down, but more importantly, we're going to finally ask the question: what movie is better, Knives Out or Glass Onion?
Oh.
Okay.
So we will be diving into Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery,
All right.
currently streaming on Netflix.
Ooh. I didn't know that.
So
Yeah.
it's there.
Yeah, this one's a Netflix original,
It is.
It is?
Yes.
if I'm not mistaken.
I didn't know that.
I think so. It's 2 of 3,
Yeah.
or
so
it's
there's-
1 of 3.
So there's two more.
There will be a third one, I think. And it'll be interesting to come back to this universe, come back to Benoit Blanc,
Yeah.
and to see how he solves another absolutely chaotic mystery
Yeah.
with some heavy hitters like
Like
Ethan
Edward-
Hawke is in it barely.
Yeah. I heard Edward Norton's
Edward
in
Norton's
it.
in it.
This
Dave
was a-
Bautista.
I heard this was a stacked cast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it'd be interesting because it'll be your guys' first time, right?
Yes. Yes, it will.
Yeah.
So it'll be my second time. I kind of have my thoughts about what is better, what the first one did, what the second one did.
Mm.
There's also a bit of a trope that I'm not sure how I feel. Some movies I think really succeed in it. Some movies falter.
Mhm.
And I'm curious to see how you guys will feel about that.
All right.
And yeah, I'm excited. 2022 it came out, I think.
Sick.
So
All right. I'm excited to hear Benoit Blanc talk about the mystery. All right. Well, tune in next week to hear what we have to say about Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery. As always, this has been the Film Bros Podcast. Thank you and good night.
Good night.
good night.